right. We are live. Alright, let me share the lives. There we go. Hey, probably it's good to see you. What are you doing? What you been up to? I see in the comments there. Family stuff? I got you. I know how you feel. Oh, you took your kid to his first date. That's awesome. Yeah, to make the others do chores. That's fun. Well, have fun, alright? I got time to peahen. What does that mean? Oh, listen. Okay. I was about to say I don't know what that means, but okay. But you're here. Okay, that's fine. I think today I probably won't have any friendlies up, just because I want to do some like 1v1s. But yeah. I might open the panel to friendlies later. We'll see. Hey, Elise, good to see you. Thank you, Elise. I appreciate the heart. Thank you. Okay, I'll see you later, Elise. You have a good one. She's giving me a drive-by. Thank you, Nugget. I appreciate the heart. Thank you. Jordan O'Taser says Christ is king. Well, if you would like to prove that claim, you're more than welcome to come up here and we can have a conversation about it. But I don't believe you. I've seen no evidence that he's actually king. And I've seen no evidence that he's actually the Christ either, as it turns out. He blatantly wasn't the Christ. He didn't do any of the things the Messiah was supposed to do. Deconstruction Critique says Jesus is dead. Yep, very true. Just like all the other people 2,000 years ago. Probably says he's king of D's. D's nuts. That's funny. Hey Souls, what's up? I'll bring up one friendly. I'll have one friendly up. Just one.
Okay.
That'll be alright. Just I need somebody to talk to, you know, but hey Souls, what's up? How you doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Chilling, I guess.
That's cool.
Jordan asked, what things did he not fulfill? Well, he didn't cut off the hostility between Judah and Israel. He didn't reunite the kingdoms. He didn't defeat any of their enemies. He didn't bring world peace.
He didn't rid the earth of all the wicked people like he promised he would.
He didn't rebuild the third temple. Nugget says, he is dead. What will you tell me next? Santa is not real either. Nugget, you and me are going to have a talk. I'm very sorry to have to tell you this. I really am. But Santa Claus is not real.
That is a matter of opinion, sir.
Donna Chata says Jesus already did what? And then he posts and then in the same chat he puts a clover emoji, a saluting emoji, and a crying laughing emoji. And no idea what you're trying to say there. Anyways.
If I had to take a wild guess, I'd say I would say that Donna Chata or whatever is trying to say that Jesus already proved you wrong, but I
But
could
he
be
didn't.
wrong. I know.
Jesus, I never met Jesus. Jesus never met me. Even he's been dead for 2,000 years.
Did you see the I think I sent it to you, the story I sent you about the priest right after the Viking Age?
I don't know if you sent that to me or not.
I might not have.
I'm thinking. I don't know. Did Carlos, are you at least 18 years of age?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what pronouns do you go by?
He.
Are you a Christian?
Yeah.
Okay, well, what would be your best evidence or argument that Christianity is true?
Well, I want to start that proving that a God is true. You can logically
Didn't we
prove a
have this
God exists.
conversation? I think we already had this
No,
conversation.
we never had that conversation. Well, maybe we did. Did we?
I'm pretty sure the other day you came up and we had that conversation.
I think we talked about the Bible. We never talked about like, do you believe in a God?
I think we did.
Period.
Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We can do it again. Okay, so why should I believe that your God is real? Why should I believe the
No.
Christian God is real?
Well, I'm just saying a God in general. Like, you can take my
Why
God
would
out
I?
the picture. Do
Well,
you
I
believe
could.
in God?
I could. I don't, but I could, and it still wouldn't be your God.
Okay. But do you believe? So you don't believe there's a God?
Nope. I've
So
been
okay.
presented with no evidence that God is needed for anything.
Okay. So can I ask you a question? Do you believe change exists? Like things can change?
Yeah.
Okay. And you believe that all changes is a potential becoming an actual?
Say that one more time.
You believe that change is a potential becoming an actual?
Mm, yeah.
Okay. And you believe that needs a actualizer, right? A
Yeah.
mover.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
No, actually, I wouldn't. Why would I think that every single thing that changes needs somebody to change it? Why would I
no,
think?
no, not somebody, but an actualizer. For example, like
Like a mechanism, you mean?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. So I think you just debunked your own argument because now you're saying
So
that
how?
is necessary. Because now you're saying
No,
that
no, no,
the
no. This
actualizer can just be a mechanism. Doesn't need a creator behind it.
why I didn't even get to my argument. I'm just setting it up so we can like because you already agreed to premise one and premise two. Just trying to move to
Okay,
premise
so
three.
then I would say that yes, all change needs an actualizer, but you already
Okay.
agreed that you don't need an entity to do it. It could just be a mechanism.
When did I ever say that?
You literally just agreed with me a second ago that it would be a mechanism. I asked you. I said, I don't believe that it needs like a creator, and you said, and I said, do you mean like a mechanism? And you said, yeah, like a mechanism. Okay,
Yeah,
so
but I was just
you already
talking about
agreed.
like in the argument I was placing, like things can change. It needs a equalizer, whether you believe it's a deity or not yet. We're not there yet,
Yeah,
right?
sure. Yeah, everything neat. Sure, why not?
Okay, and we can see if we everything in creation has dependent or derivative actualization power, right?
Okay, so can you break that down?
Okay. For example, if I was to put a cup of cold water into a microwave,
Mm-hmm.
and I heat it up, it
Mm-hmm.
has the potential to become hot, obviously. The
Mm-hmm.
microwave is what's actualizing, it's what's actually making it hot. But
Mm-hmm.
it's dependent on the electricity plugged into the wall, the
I'm aware.
cord, and that's dependent on other things. You get my point, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So everything in creation has derivative or dependent
Well, you would need to
actualization
demonstrate.
power.
Well, first you would need to demonstrate creation. We have no reason to think there's a creation.
Huh?
Why you would need to demonstrate creation first? You're making claims on creation now, but we don't have any good reason to think anything was created
So
except
you
for
think
humans
so
created, for example.
I'm asking this question. Do you think the universe is eternal?
I do, yes. I've never been given a good
Oh,
reason as to why infinite regress is impossible. I've never been given a good reason to think that it is.
I've never run into that. But technically, for this argument,
See,
you
matter
could
and
believe that
energy.
still.
Well, see, matter and energy can't be created or destroyed, so I have no reason to think that there was ever nothing. In fact, scientists have done experiments trying to get nothing, and they've never been able to get absolutely nothing. There's always been something left over.
So you don't
And
believe in the Big Bang?
I do. The Big Bang does not make a claim on the origin of the universe. In fact, they did a survey about this, the Copenhagen
Hmm.
survey, a couple of years ago, where an overwhelming amount of physicists agree that the Big Bang does not make a claim on the origin of the universe. It makes a claim that the universe was once in a much smaller, hot, dense state that then expanded, having nothing to do with the beginning.
So hold up. So you believe that the universe has parts? Like we could see that in the universe, some parts change, right?
Yeah, sure.
So it is it can go from a potential to an actual. So it's not an actualizer on its own
How
because it
come?
can change
But why can't it be?
because it changes.
But why
So
can't?
that means
Why,
something must actualize it.
but why can it not be an
Can
actual?
you show me an example of it not?
No, you made the claim, so now I'm asking you.
Yeah, because we see that
So what?
everything
So
that has
Carlos,
okay,
when I asked you a question, you can't just say, well, no. You can't just ask me a question back. You have to actually
okay.
answer
So
my question.
can you re-ask the question again?
Okay, my question was, you restate your claim. Restate your claim real quick, so I can make sure I
Okay,
can at least understand I'm tracking you.
okay. So you said that okay, my claim was the universe has parts, and we can see that the universe can change. So something has to be actualized in that change.
Yeah, mechanisms. Hmm?
Okay, so you don't disagree that it's something actualized in the change.
There's mechanisms that
Okay,
there's
okay.
naturalistic process of how the universe works. The universe changes because there's always some kind of naturalistic phenomenon happening that causes them to do so, like how planets form, for example. We know planets form through accretion disks, right? So the universe seems to work with mechanisms, naturalistic mechanisms that cause things to happen. But this doesn't get you any closer to there being like a creator, God of any kind.
So if we go, so hey, I've never had nobody use the infinite regress. I thought it was like illogical.
No, nobody has ever given a reason why infinite regress is impossible. Nobody. It's
No,
always
I
a
don't.
misunderstanding of infinity. People often can't fathom. I've had several like people talk to me in comments and things like that about infinite regress, and they make the claim that it's impossible because they can't fathom what infinity is.
No, I never said it's impossible. I just I never had
I'm not
nobody
saying
like
you.
say that.
I'm not saying you said that. I'm saying that I've had people come to me and say things like that, but they don't have any arguments against an infinite regress.
Okay. Well, I guess that's just. I guess that's it because I've
Oh, well,
never.
well,
Well, I guess y'all have a good day. I gotta go to the
you,
drawing board. I guess.
you too, G. Carlos. No problem. You have a good day. See you later. Big W for the Carlos. All right, so we're gonna wait just a few minutes.
I hadn't actually heard that before about how the many scientists or whatever got together and uh, discovered that the Big Bang Theory isn't how the universe was created. I
Well,
didn't know that.
So the Big Bang posits that the universe was once in a much smaller, hot, dense state that then rapidly expanded. Right, like they did a survey a couple of years ago called the Copenhagen survey, and at the survey, about 67 or 60, I think it was 68% of physicists agree that the universe, that the Big Bang does not make a claim on the origin of the universe. Excuse me. It makes a claim that the universe was was once in a much smaller, hot, dense state that then rapidly expanded, having nothing to do or no claim on there being an origin to the universe. So yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess that makes sense because um, the last time I watched a YouTube video on it, they were talking about the Big Bang and how whenever the matter collided and everything, and obviously causing that explosion, that it had several centuries of darkness in space because everything was so hot and it needed to
Yeah.
cool down.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. There was it's also funny because there was no explosion either. Like one of the things people say is like there was an explosion. There wasn't an explosion. The Big Bang is kind of a misnomer. It was more of an expansion. Like the universe was in a very small, hot, dense state, and then it expanded really fast.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you can still observe the expansion today.
Right. Yeah. I just used explosion because that was
Yeah,
the easiest way to describe it.
it is like one of the easiest ways
Yeah.
to describe it. The last John Wick or you at least 18 years of age.
Oh yeah.
Didn't I see the movie once? Anyways, what pronouns do you go by?
He
Do you believe that Christianity is true?
I do.
Okay, what would be your best argument or evidence that Christianity is true?
The fact
Sorry, that
that you can't
Christianity is true.
the fact that you can't disprove it.
Oh, but I can know.
How?
And also, that's not evidence for Christianity. Saying that you can't disprove something doesn't mean that your position is automatically correct. You still need to prove your position. For example, I could say like, hey, you can't disprove, you can't disprove freaking. I could say there's a teapot, right, circling around Jupiter. You can't disprove that claim, right? You yourself can't disprove that claim. So does that mean I'm automatically correct, or does that mean I would still need to provide evidence for my claim?
But I could disprove that with the
But you can't.
James Webb.
Yeah, how can you disprove the idea that there was a giant teapot circling around Jupiter?
We have telescopes now.
Yeah, but how would you disprove it? I could just say they just haven't seen it yet. They're just missing it.
We can observe Jupiter over.
Yeah, they're just missing it. It's there. It's invisible. They just can't see it.
Okay.
So this is what I'm getting at, is like, just because somebody can't disprove your claim, which I absolutely can, by the way, and I will in just a moment, just using the book itself. But just because somebody can't disprove your claim does not mean that your claim is automatically, correct. You would still need to provide. Thank you, Richard. You would still need to provide evidence for your claim, right? Like, you can't disprove the Muslims. You can't disprove Islamic beliefs.
What's the definition of a God?
I'm sorry?
Definition of God. What is it?
It would, for me, and at least in my opinion, that God would be a supreme creator of the universe. That's what not even supreme creator, it would just be like I guess a creator of the universe, would be God. Now, to be fair, people's definitions often vary. I have people come up here sometimes and tell me that they think the universe is God, and that's not really, it doesn't really fit the definition. But if we go with like what, at least like from the Bible's definition, I guess, like if you just read the Bible and you take away what God is, he would be a creator. He'd be the creator of the world. And he'd be extremely powerful, extremely knowledgeable, well, somewhat knowledgeable. And yeah. So like when we talk about the Christian God, for example, what would your evidence be that the Christian God is real, or that Jesus was the Messiah, or that he did miracles, or that he rose from the dead? What would your evidence of these claims be?
For instance, there's a chapter in Deuteronomy that speaks about circumcision. I know it sounds a little weird, but it says that you can't circumcise to the 8th day. Science has proven that the 8th day is the highest that you would have the vitamin K in your body, which promotes blood coagulation. So that's scientifically true.
Okay, that's one thing. Well, number one, you haven't actually provided evidence of that claim. I'm willing to take your word for it and just say, sure, why not? But that doesn't tell me that the Christianity is true. That tells me they got one thing in the book right, but then I can show you all the things they got wrong. Do you know the Bible says the earth is flat? Do you believe the earth is flat?
The Bible doesn't say that the earth is flat.
Oh. All right, we're going to go to Job. We're going to go to Job 38, verse 14. It says, "It is changed like clay under the seal and is dyed like a garment." So, is the earth changed like clay under a seal? You know what that means?
That's a different interpretation for everybody. How do you interpret it?
Well, clay beneath a seal is a flat shape, and it's talking about the shape of the earth. This is the earth is changed like clay beneath a seal. It's a simile, using like or as.
There's the earth's crust, which is clay.
But is the earth flat though, like clay beneath the seal?
Because the earth's crust not change over time.
But is the earth changed like clay beneath the seal though?
The surface of the earth is.
The earth is flat.
The crust is, yes.
No, the earth is not flat. That's a nonsense claim.
The earth's crust, meaning that the thing that surrounds the earth.
But it's not flat though.
It changes like clay beneath the seal.
But it's not flat though.
But it changes, but it changes like clay beneath the seal.
John, I'm gonna call you John. John, clay beneath the seal is a flat shape. When describing the shape of the earth, they're making the claim that it is like.
You have to substantiate that.
Clay beneath the seal. Yeah, I can actually show you a picture of a clay beneath the seal. Hold on, I have a picture on my phone here. I can show you, and I'll show you what that looks like. Let me go to my. Hold on. Oh, I think I passed it. Let's see. Just give me one moment, because.
And didn't it say it changes like clay beneath the seal?
Yep, I don't know how recent this picture is. Hold on, it might
be. Doesn't the composition of clay changes when a seal lays on it?
So this is what clay beneath the seal looks like. So this is how they would seal their letters, right? like if they had a letter, what they would do is they would use a clay seal to seal the letter. That way, you could know if somebody had opened it. It would be like making sure that nobody can open it and look at it, because if they did, the seal would break. It would crack, and you'd be like, "Oh, somebody's read my letter," because now it's off the thing now. So
You want to know something funny about that? If you were to take the liftology of that and you were to shrink yourself down to a micron in respects to the ratio of you versus the Earth, you probably would have experienced the same thing.
but is the Earth? I agree. That's why they thought the Earth is flat. Is because they had no knowledge of space and they didn't know that the Earth was actually round yet. I'm aware, but the book still makes a claim that it's flat. They're describing it as being
It doesn't
flat.
say that it's flat.
Okay, but I just showed you what clay beneath the seal looks like. Hey, everybody in the comments, put a 1 in the chat if I showed you what clay beneath the seal looks like, and you saw that it was a flat circular shape.
Even the shape that you showed me wasn't flat.
A lot of 1s in the chat. Yeah, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
I don't think that you know what flat
It was
is.
a flat circular disc. Yes, it was.
No.
A lot of 1s in the chat. Wow. It's like everybody saw it.
You think I care about your chat?
Yeah, clay beneath the seal, you better. So yeah, clay beneath the seal is a flat shape. Job 38:14 directly tells you that the earth is changed like clay beneath the seal. Clay beneath
Read
the
the
seal
creation story, please, if you don't mind.
what?
Let's go to the creation story. The creation story.
I don't care. Well, yeah, that you have 2 creation stories.
Right, you don't care, right?
Which one do you want to go to? We have
the
2
one
of
in
them.
Genesis.
Yeah, but there's 2 of them. Which one you want to go to? 1 or 2?
Genesis 1.
Okay, we're gonna do Genesis 1. Sure. Okay, what about Genesis 1?
Read it.
Well, yeah, but what part of it?
You said the earth was flat. Just read the entire Genesis 1.
I don't have to read Genesis 1. I just read you a verse.
Right, because it just proves your claim, though, right?
Oh, yeah. Show me. Yeah, give me. That's a claim.
Okay.
Show me in Genesis 1 where at any point it directly tells you the earth is round. It does say
It
there's
doesn't directly tell you that it's flat either.
Firmament, though.
It doesn't tell you that it's flat either.
It doesn't have to. I just showed you a verse that did.
The one that you did doesn't say that it's flat directly.
So now you're lying. Well, I know Revelation 21.
No, I'm not lying.
All liars go to the lake of fire. So, John, you might want to be careful. We'll also go to Isaiah 48.
Non-believers do too.
No, it's 40:22, I think. Let's find out. Like, everyone in the comments saw it. They all agreed, which means that you're just wrong. So
I'm not wrong.
yeah, you are. Anyways, we'll go to I think it's 48:22. Yeah. It is he who sits above the circle of the earth, and its inhabitants are like grasshoppers. Wait a minute.
Circle of the earth.
Circle of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, so what shape is the earth?
A circle.
No, it's a sphere. And there's 2 different words. So in this verse,
sphere?
the word hug, and the word hug.
What is a sphere?
A sphere is a ball, which is what they would use.
No. What is a sphere? What is the scientific definition of a sphere?
A sphere is a 3-dimensional shape.
So, 3-dimensional. What's that shape? What is that shape? What is that shape?
So I'm talking now. So a circle is a 2D shape. It's a flat shape, right? Sphere is a 3D shape. It's a ball, right? This has nothing to do with, a sphere is not a circle. A circle is
a ball. A ball isn't scientific. The scientific word for a 3D shape of what?
It's a 3D shape, but it's not a circle. What? But it's not a circle, though, because a circle is a flat.
A sphere is a circle.
No, it
That's
isn't.
crazy.
No, it isn't.
Even calculus tells you that.
Okay, show me your calculus. Go ahead. Show me your calculus that says a sphere is a circle. Go ahead.
Yeah. You ever heard of the ship?
No, you made a claim. So now you can go off the screen for a moment and you can find me evidence that in calculus they make the claim that sphere that they make the claim.
You have to go off the
So you can either go off the screen and you can show me your evidence, or you can just concede that you're wrong.
Or even have to go off the screen.
Yeah, you do, because I need you to provide me evidence.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do. You need to provide me
evidence. Are you aware of the
evidence.
Shell equation?
So where in calculus do they make the claim that a sphere is a circle? When do they make that?
The Shell equation, literally.
Yeah, show me. Yeah, show me on the screen right now. Pull it up on your
I'm telling you, the Shell equation. That is the name of it.
Show me. I want you to show me, John. John, I want you to show me. And again, I'm telling you that there's 2 different words that they could use. So they would use the word hug, right, in the Hebrew, that circle. Alternatively, they could have used the word dor, which means ball. Like a circle, like a sphere, right? So they had a word that meant sphere, that meant ball, but they used the word that meant circle. Interesting. It's almost like these people thought the earth was flat. And they did, yeah. They thought the Earth was flat. The Bible says the Earth is flat. It also says there's a firmament over the Earth like a dome, and it also says that it's hard like a cast metal mirror. Yeah, so we'll look at it here. I'll pull it up here.
Yeah.
So this is the Google AI. I don't care about the Google AI. I want you to show me a source. Show me a source. And where does it say?
All you gotta do is click on the link.
Where does it say that a sphere is a circle? I'm not seeing anything on your thing that says a sphere is a circle.
I understand if you're illiterate and you don't know mathematics.
It seems like you lied to me just now. You said you were going to show me a
didn't lie at
source
all,
that
actually.
claim that a sphere is a circle, but you're not showing me a source that actually says that.
I didn't
And I'm
lie at
not
all.
illiterate. I'm not illiterate at all. That's a projection. It has to be a projection.
It's not a projection. Did you
Oh,
read? Did you read anything in that?
I did. And not once does it ever say anything about there being a sphere being a
Do
circle.
you understand? Do you understand? So you're ignorant to it, then, right?
I know you're very ignorant, John. John, here's the deal. I know you're gift jumping now because you're.
So do you understand what's going on?
I've got you backed in a corner now because you can't show me any evidence that in calculus they make the claim that a sphere is a circle. You haven't shown me that at all. So, John, I'm going to ask you again to provide me evidence of something that actually makes that claim. And if you don't, then I'm going to call you a liar.
I can call you a liar too, because you just lied about several different things.
Is I haven't lied at all, not once. And this is going to go on YouTube. Everybody's going to see it, and they're going to say that you're lying. There's 40 people right now. Actually, technically 39 because I think it counts you too. There's 39 people here right now watching you get absolutely roasted on this because I backed you into a corner because you made an absurd claim that you have no evidence for, and you haven't been able to provide me any evidence for it yet.
I just did. Now, it's not my fault that you're.
John, I know you're
ignorant to mathematics. It's not my.
I'm talking now, John. John, I know you're not very smart on this. That's a shame. But I've already shown you directly the Bible makes the claim that the Earth is flat, and you haven't yet provided me evidence that a sphere is a circle. So it's a shame.
You know, if you want
and I've already explained that there's two different words for it too. So
in order for you to learn something,
they use the word. That's how I feel about you right now. So, John, they use the word.
In order for you to learn,
the word hoog means
you have to shut up.
Alternatively, I know you got to shut up. I know. And they could have used the word door, which means ball, but they didn't. They used the word that means circle, right? Because in the context of these ancient people, they believed that the Earth was flat and that there was a dome over the Earth. They did not believe the Earth was round. And I'm showing you the. Oh, and he ran. He ran. Fantastic. That's something else. Coming up here, he makes the claim that in calculus, right, a sphere is a circle. No, it isn't. And then he shows me a source that says nothing of the sort. That's ridiculous. Oh my goodness. Well, John, the reason I was muting you is because you wouldn't let me speak for 2 minutes. You kept interrupting me, so I muted you. Now then, we will bring up... Yep, sphere is round, not a circle. A circle is a 2D flat shape. A sphere is not a circle. A sphere is a round shape. They're two completely different things. Like, I don't know what kind of absolute ignorance you have, John, but you're not going to do it here, I guess. All right, we'll bring up Gabe. We'll see if Gabe is here. I guess Gabe's not here. That's okay. We'll bring up Michael. Michael, are you at least 18 years of age? Michael, are you at least 18 years of age?
Yeah.
Okay, and what pronouns do you go by?
I don't go by pronouns.
You said I. That's a pronoun.
I don't go by them.
Well, you said I, and then you said them. Oh, no. So, it seems like you do use
them
pronouns.
Referring to the pronouns.
I'm asking for your third person pronouns. So, do you go by he, him, she, her, or they, them? Which one?
You just go by what you think. How about that?
Okay, well, Michael, unfortunately, since you can't answer a simple question, you're not going to be here to have this conversation with me, but thanks for coming up. Yeah, someone in the comments, apparently Michael's in the comments saying he's going to educate us, but the man doesn't even know what pronouns are. So he thinks he can educate us, but he doesn't know what pronouns are. That's hilarious. What ignorance, really. We have a guest. We'll bring up Bentley. Bentley, are you at least 18 years of age?
Yes, sir.
What pronouns do you go by?
He and him.
Do you believe that Christianity is true?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what would be your best evidence or argument that Christianity is true?
The Bible.
Okay, so what about the Bible would lead me to believe that Christianity is true? For example, one of the foundational claims of Christianity is that Jesus was the Messiah, yet he fulfilled 0 prophecies about the Messiah, not one. So why should I think that Christianity is true? Oh, and I don't know. I don't know why he left. Maybe he'll come back. Maybe he got kicked by TikTok or something. I don't know. TikTok does do that sometimes. I'm trying to scroll up in the comments here. Let's see. Oh, I don't. Oh, I accidentally messed my screen up a little bit. There we go. Okay, it's fine. Oh, okay. Bentley didn't mean to leave. Bentley, you didn't get kicked. Bentley, I think you either left. Okay, hold on. It's not letting you join. Hold on. I will send you an There we go. Okay, I sent you an invite, Bentley. Maybe it'll let you come back up. We'll see. There he is. Okay, Bentley.
Okay,
Yeah,
there you go.
TikTok does that sometimes. TikTok sometimes randomly
Yeah,
kicks people. They kick my
yeah.
guests sometimes by random, and I do not know why. This has happened a few times now. Actually, several times now. It kicks friendlies. It kicks opposition. I don't know why. It just kicks them. They'll be here talking to me. Next thing I know, they'll be gone, and it says they left. And I'm like, wait, where'd they go? Then they'll come back like 2 minutes later and be like, yeah, TikTok kicked me. And I'm like, oh, well, I don't know why. So Bentley, do you believe? What we were saying before you got kicked was like, okay,
Like
so
the
one of the
Bible and Messiah and stuff.
yeah, so one of the foundational claims of Christianity, right, is that Jesus was the Messiah, but then he fulfilled 0 prophecies about the Messiah. So why would that make me think that? Why should I think that Christianity is true?
So I might not put up a good debate or something because I'm new to Christianity and stuff. So just FYI.
You're fine. You're
But
fine.
I'd say like the reason why I believe in him and lots of other Christians believe in him is because like you can see all the witnesses POVs on it. You can
Like who?
hear all the stories that apparently have come true. Like they found his robe
No, they didn't.
thrown.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, I'm saying like stories like that, but like I know they didn't find his throne or stuff actually. But then there's also like Bible stories that have come true.
Yeah, like what? So first the first thing you said. Wait, what was the first thing you said? I want to go back to it. You said they found something.
They found his throne and robe, but they didn't actually. But it's
Okay.
just stories as well.
Yeah.
But then also in Book of Revelations, they have all of these stuff that's gonna happen before he comes back, and all that stuff is being
The
like actually happening.
So the problem with that is
Wars,
that a lot of the
rumors.
predictions they make in Revelation are very vague predictions that were happening then. For example, the Euphrates River drying up. They knew it was drying up back then. It goes through cycles. We actually have recordings from like 2204 that the river was drying up. So we know that the river goes through cycles of drying up and then filling up over time. So the fact that it's drying up when they already knew that it did that is not some monumental claim or prophecy that that's happening. That's nothing. And then the other claim is there's going to be war. Well, when has there not been war? There's always been war throughout all history. There's been war throughout all human history. There's been war. So that doesn't really tell me anything specifically. The problem I would have with Revelation is that it's clearly a failed prophetic book, because if you read all of like the Gospels, for example, in the Gospels, Jesus tells his disciples that he's going to be coming back within their lifetime, and then he didn't do it. And so to me, it's clear that Revelation is a failed prophetic book, that, you know, Jesus never actually came back, which means that the events of Revelation just never actually took place, right?
Um,
For example, Matthew 16:27-28, he says, "For the Son of Man is to come with his angels in the glory of his Father, and then he will repay everyone for what has been done." That's a reference to the judgment when he comes back and he judges all mankind. And then he says, "For truly I tell you, some of you standing here," and he's talking to his disciples, "will not taste death before they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom." But he never came back, which means that this
yeah,
is just patently false.
and that is a good argument and stuff. And you also got
Oh, okay, so I'm going to assume that Bentley got kicked again. That's what I'm going to assume, because it sounded like he was in the middle of a sentence. I hope he comes back. Okay, he's back. Okay, good. Well, he's in the comments, I think. Somebody invited him back. Okay, he's back. Okay, I don't know. Okay, he's back. I don't know why it keeps doing that. He was in. I knew he didn't leave on purpose. He was in the middle of a sentence. Okay, welcome back, Bentley. I don't know why that keeps happening. Oh, and it. Okay, I think
Yeah,
TikTok.
I don't know why that
Oh,
keeps happening.
hey, welcome back, welcome back. And he. TikTok, you gotta get your shit together, TikTok. TikTok, you keep kicking my guest. Why? That's ridiculous. I don't like that. TikTok needs to get its shit together, I swear. It's a shame. I was having a very nice conversation, too. Alright, yeah, no problem, Bentley. Come back anytime. You're welcome to come back. He says, I'll debate you another day. I'll find your live again when it's not doing this. Come back anytime, Bentley. You're always welcome here. You were very nice and very polite. So I had a great conversation with you. It's a shame. We were having such a nice conversation, too.
Yeah, that's what people don't understand is that like even though I'm pagan, I'll talk to Christians all day long, like because there's Christians out there that genuinely will like ask questions about my faith, not because they're trying to convert me to God, but they're just genuinely curious,
Yeah.
you know, about why I believe what I believe and stuff like that. Those people are fine because they're normally respectful and
Yeah.
they're just like, oh, okay, well that's kind of cool. But then you got people, like what we normally deal with that just want to be belligerent.
Yeah. Like
But
people I meet a lot of good guests on here. I do. I also meet a lot of bad guests, but I meet some good guests too. Right.
yeah, I agree.
And this is the thing I always tell people is like the Christians I know in real life do not act this way at all. Like all the bad guests I get on here, the Christians I know in real life, in my personal life, do not act that way at all. It's the
I
ones on
agree.
TikTok. It's because the ones who go on TikTok are the ones who want to argue mostly, usually, right? So usually the ones you find on TikTok are like really mean and stuff, and it's because they just want to argue. They just want to argue, and be right. But the Christians I know in real life never act that way. I've never had a Christian in my personal life come up and scream or curse at me just because I'm an atheist. I've never had that happen in my personal life, but I have it happen on here all the time. I've never had Christians in my personal life ever do that. In fact, one of my good friends in my personal life is a Christian, and he's very, very kind and very great dude.
Right. Yeah. I feel like a lot of that too, though, because now don't get me wrong. Like you just said, there are people out there who, just simply on the street won't be belligerent and evil and stuff like that. But I feel like also out on the street, like if you're just walking down the sidewalk and a Christian walks up to you and is nice to you until how am I going to say this? Like basically people assume you're a Christian until they get to know you a little bit, and then that's whenever they start, "Oh, you're an atheist," blah blah, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I've never had that happen. Not in
No,
my personal life.
neither have I, but I'm just saying I don't know.
I mean, you can find those people out there because, like, I mean, there are people like that out there.
Oh yeah.
But I've never met any of those kind of people in my personal life. The Christians I meet in my personal life are like really great people, even though they know that I don't believe what they believe.
Right.
Hey, Cake, it's good to see you, Cake, in the comments. Good to see you, buddy. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
But yeah, back to kind of what I can't remember his name, but the dude saying that Earth was a circle, not a sphere. Um, wasn't there like some like Roman physicist that discovered that the Earth was round and not flat?
It was the Greeks. I think it was the Greeks. If I remember correctly, it was the Greeks. The Greeks had figured out that it was round.
Okay. I was gonna say I knew it was someone from thousands of years ago. I just couldn't remember if it was a Roman physicist or Greek or whatever. But
But like the Old Testament, the Hebrew Bible is very clear several times that the Earth is flat. That they think it's a flat disc with a dome around it, and that that the dome is hard like a cast metal mirror. They believe that it was like a hard like a cast metal mirror. Um, like for example, Job 38:14 says the earth is like clay beneath the seal. Well, clay beneath the seal is a flat shape. It's clear that they're describing the earth as a flat shape with all these like all these like dents and ridges in it too.
Right.
And then when you read Isaiah 40:22, it says, "He who sits above the circle of the earth." Well, the word that they use there is hug, and the word hug means circle, whereas they could have used the word dor, which means ball. So they could have said there was a ball, but they said it was a circle. That's blatantly not true.
Right.
So that's what I was getting at with him. And then he wants to make the claim that in calculus, they somehow want to make that he's somehow making the claim that in calculus they say that that a sphere is a circle. And then he brings me up something that has literally nothing to do with that at all. Something that has nothing to do with a sphere being a circle.
Well,
And then he wants to call me illiterate and just pretend like I can't, that I'm not getting it. I understand what he's showing me, but it has nothing to do with that at all.
well, and not only that, but he had his what was it, mathematical theories or whatever you want to call it wrong, because a sphere is a geometric shape.
Yeah.
It's calculus is calculating the circumference and diameter and radius of a circle. That's all that is.
Yeah.
So, like,
Thank you, Kate. I appreciate it, yeah.
they had him so ingrained that he couldn't even figure out his own mathematical theories or mathematical, you know what I mean, properties. That's what I was looking for. But
it is what it is. To be fair, mathematics was never my thing, ever. I was never good at math. That's just the truth. I was never good at math. But there's nothing in calculus at all that says, like, I know enough to know that nothing in calculus makes the claim that a sphere is a circle. That's ridiculous. That's a nonsense claim.
Right. Yeah, that's basically like saying that, geometry doesn't exist because calculus, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, that story that I was talking about earlier, like I said, I'm not quite sure if I sent it to you or not. I may not have. Anyways, it talks about just to kind of summarize, it was at the very end of the Viking Age, and a king who, used to be Viking, sent out one of his guys who became, who was a priest. And this was one of the first people to start the convert or unalive movement type of thing, at least in that, Scandinavia area. Well, with his own personal army at tow, he eventually ends up in Iceland. And whenever he gets there, at first he, sees nobody, and so he starts searching for people and everything, and finally stumbles across this woman who, is obviously still pagan and blah, blah, blah. Well, they go and start swapping stories. She tells the sagas of the old gods, and then after she's done, he starts telling about Jesus Christ and Christianity and blah, blah, blah. Well, during this, she tells a story about how, after he's done with his piece, she starts telling a story about how Thor challenged Jesus to single combat once. And Jesus backed down, because he didn't want the smoke. And apparently after she told him that, the priest was like dumbfounded and was like, what? How is that? That's impossible. All of a sudden, while he was doing all of that, like a bolt of lightning came shooting out of the sky and destroyed his boat. I was like, that's Thor being like, yeah, I'm still here.
He just didn't want that smoke.
Yeah.
He was going to get walked with the Mjolnir.
Right. But yeah, if you want, I can send it to you later. And
I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love to read it. That'd be fun. I like that. I like those I like stories. Stories are fun.
Obviously, it goes into better detail than what I said, but yeah.
Yeah.
That was basically the gist of the story.
Hey, I'm hooked already. So
Yeah. I don't know. It's oh, also sending some people your live the other day got me in trouble.
Really? How?
So there's this one woman that I've been following for years or whatever. We've never like talked or anything like that. We just kind of followed each other, and
Right.
every now and again she'd send me live invites and I wouldn't send her anything.
Mhm.
Well, finally I sent her invite of your live, and literally the only message I got back was in all capital letters. She's like, "Don't send me anything," and then she immediately blocks me. And I'm like, "The what the heck?"
So she wants to send you live, but doesn't want you to send her any, and then she blocks you for sending you my live. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's a little strange. I would say. Let's see.
but
It's hurt.
anyway, I've at least have you been live the past few days? It seemed like it kept missing you, or were you just like off?
I
Live for-
mean, so I didn't stream yesterday. I'm
Okay,
streaming today, or actually, I might have streamed yesterday. I can't remember.
I don't know. I seen you once. You were on like Jaren's live or something like that,
Oh yeah,
but
that's right. Yeah, I didn't stream yesterday. I was on Jaren's live. Yeah.
that was the first time I'd seen you since I was in West Virginia.
Ooh, very nice.
So, so I just
You should stop by Point Pleasant sometime.
Point Pleasant. Where's
Hmm.
that?
West Virginia.
Oh, um, I don't know. Well, I mean, I'm back home now, so
Right. Yeah.
it'd be kind of hard for me to visit right
Um,
now.
Hero Harry says, "One day every knee and head will bow, and every tongue will confess Jesus Lord." Yeah, nice try. If you want to prove that claim, you're more than welcome to come up here and we can have a conversation about it. But I'm very certain that no knees, no tongues, nothing are gonna bow or speak about Jesus because Jesus is dead. Sorry.
Not, not only that, but if Jesus was all loving or God was all loving, why would he make you bend the knee to him?
Right. Yeah.
That's not being loving, that's called being commanding.
Yeah. If you want people just to submit to you, that's not really all loving. Especially when the contrary to submitting to them is like going to a pit of fire, right? That's not loving. That's love me or I'll burn you. That's not loving. That's evil, right? The analogy I always give them is like, hey, you know, I'll ask them like, is your mom still around or something? Like I'll ask them like if one of their family members are around, and they say, yeah, my mom is still around. I'm like, okay, so if I took your mom on a date, right, and I took her out and I said, hey, if you join me, like we're gonna have the best time at night ever. We're gonna have all kinds of fun. I'm gonna throw the best party for us. We're gonna have all kinds of great food and music and all that stuff. But if you say no to me, I'm gonna lock you in my basement. I'm gonna light it on fire. Does that make me good or does it make me bad? And they'll say, well, it makes you bad. And I'm like, okay, well, that's literally what God and what Jesus do in the New Testament. It's love them or you burn, right? And they're like, no, it's not the same. It's not the same. But it's literally the exact same analogy. It's the exact same scenario. The only difference is that one's God, one's not. That's literally the only difference to the analogy. So they at that point they're just saying, well, might makes right. If he's God, he can do whatever he wants. And it's like, well, that's at that point that's not good. Like that's just might makes right. That's terrible. To just
Right.
say that because you're the most powerful, you can do whatever you want to do. That's ridiculous.
Might makes right is what gave us the Crusades in the first place. I mean, because they're like, oh, well, we can outnumber all of these people, so we're just going to take over the world. That kind of thing. Guess who
Uh,
else tried to do that? A certain mustache man.
yeah, that is true. CG, are you at least 18 years of age?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, and what pronouns do you go by?
Oh, come on. I just, he,
Okay, do you believe that Christianity is true?
I do.
What would be
Okay,
your
wait, let's, well, I guess you would have to, I am a follower of Christ. How about that?
So you're a Christian. Okay, fantastic. So, what would be your best evidence or argument that Christianity is true?
All right. Aside from the my internal feelings and the things that I've gone through, you're going to want like actual physical evidence kind of thing.
So, the first thing I have to say, there's like a crazy background noise. Sounds like wind.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me try something. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Okay. Yeah, so what would be your best evidence in that Christianity is true?
Um, well, what do you mean as far as Christianity? How about do you
What's
want
like
do you mean
what's in the Bible, for example, in the New Testament, right?
okay, well, are you talking you want evidence of Christ?
Well, I believe there was a real person named Jesus, but I don't believe he was the Christ. I don't believe he was the Messiah because he didn't fulfill any of the criteria to be the Messiah. He didn't fulfill any
All right,
prophecies about the Messiah.
all right. So be it. Let's we'll just start with the belief you believe. Why do you believe there was a man named Jesus?
Because it would seem to be that there could be some historical records that are talking about this individual.
Okay.
Although there's also a lot of people who disagree and they have reasons as to why they disagree. But me personally, I'm not a mythicist. I don't believe that Jesus was not a real person. I believe that he was a real person. So, like,
Okay. Well,
the
hold
thing
on.
is that I also believe that Muhammad, was a real person, right? I
All
also
right.
believe
Don't.
that Julius Caesar was a real person. But, like, there's a
Okay.
lot of mythology about these people
All right.
that
Well,
isn't true. Hold on,
stand by.
CG. So CG,
Hold
you
on.
can't hear me. You can't hear me talk when you're talking, CG. So hold on. Um, so like the thing is, there's a lot of mythology about these people, right? So I agree that Jesus was a real person, but then there's a lot of mythology written about him. For example, in the New Testament, they make the claim that he's the Messiah, right? They make the claim that he was the Messiah from the Old Testament. But like, what evidence would they have for that? Well, the evidence would be whether he fulfilled prophecies, but I haven't actually seen a single prophecy that he fulfilled about the Messiah, not one. So like, do you know of any prophecies that you think he might have fulfilled?
That is not what the prophecies, because you can say that the prophecies that they had, we try and fit the man into the prophecies.
Not
So
necessarily.
let's
If you
all
could,
right.
not
So hold
necessarily.
on,
If you
hold.
could show me an actual prophecy he fulfilled, I wouldn't be able to get away from it.
I'm not going off of prophecy.
Okay, so you don't want to acknowledge what the Bible says. Okay, fair enough. What do
No,
you want to
listen,
acknowledge
no,
then?
listen. The Bible acknowledges more than just prophecy.
Okay, sure. So what evidence would we
Okay.
have that he rose from the dead then?
All right. First off, do you believe that there was a, the man named Jesus
Yeah, I just
because yeah, I know you said that, but do you believe because it was written in the Bible?
no.
Okay. All right. So you believe it because of other historical records.
Hmm.
All right. Now, do you the other historical records? Are you talking about like Pliny the Younger?
Nope.
Are you talking about
Talking about
uh,
talking about Josephus's Testimonium Flavianum.
okay, all right, well, hold on.
When you take away the interpolation, he writes about Jesus being a real person. When you take away the interpolation, so he seems to mention Jesus as being a real individual. So I would say that there was probably a real man named Jesus. The only problem I would have is with the idea that he did miracles or that he rose from the dead or that he was the Messiah, because we don't seem to have any good evidence of these claims.
Okay. Now, the same claims that say that there was a man named Jesus, there are historical claims that say that he was crucified. Can
Sure.
you agree with that?
Well, it depends, because if you read like the Sanhedrin 43a, if you believe the Sanhedrin 43a is talking about Jesus, right, then it says, doesn't say he was crucified, it says he was stoned to death.
All right, and that is from the Sanhedrin one. There is other historical documents
Yeah, like what?
that no okay. Well, like I said, with Pliny the Younger
Mm-hmm.
and with
Mm-hmm.
all right, if I can't go get the other
That's
documents
okay.
right
Look, I
now.
agree. Okay, I would
All right.
agree then. Okay,
Okay.
that's fine. I agree. There was a guy named Jesus, and he was either stoned to death or he was crucified or he was both. Right? That's fine. I
Okay.
have no
All
problem
right.
with that.
All
So, what
right.
would the
Now,
evidence
no,
be of the
wait.
mythological claims of this person? Like, for example, the claim that he rose from the dead. What evidence would we have for that claim?
Okay. The reason that you would have uh, if we're going by those other historical documents, is there is a record of people when they write down, like Josephus said that there was a man named Jesus, and then the people followed him,
Sure.
and people, all right, and people called him the
Nope,
Messiah.
he didn't say that.
No, wait,
That part's interpolated.
no, okay. Other documents say that they said that, not just the Josephus one.
Okay,
Okay,
so I don't
if you
care
now,
whether people followed Jesus and called him the Messiah. I don't care. What I'm asking you is I'm asking you for your evidence of this of the claims in the book, right? The book makes the claim that he rose from the dead. Let's do this. He said they claim he rose from the dead. What evidence would we have that he rose from the dead, CG?
all right, the only evidence you have is that the books say that.
Well, the book contradicts itself on the resurrection. They
Okay,
cannot agree who was there.
all right. The contradictions that you speak of are not contradicting the point that he
Oh, they
had
are.
risen.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna read them. We're gonna read Mark 16, and then we'll read John
All right.
21.
No. Please don't.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. This is. What
Okay.
do you think
All
we're
right.
gonna do? Do you think we're not gonna read the Bible for a Christianity live
You
stream?
just
A
no.
stream
Listen. You
debating.
just told me. You
So,
just told me in the beginning.
okay, so CG, you're muted for a moment. So CG, listen, this is a live stream, right, where we're debating Christianity. Okay. So did you think that I wasn't gonna get the Bible out to read? Oh, and he left. Okay, well. Like, I agree that Jesus was probably a real person, sure. He was probably crucified or stoned to death, sure, because we have documents that seemingly say both, right? Sure. When you take away the interpolation in Josephus, what you might have, possibly, because there's still debate on that too, whether it's even actually acknowledging Jesus as a real person to begin with, or whether it's not, right? Because some people think it's an entire interpolation, and it could be, we don't know for certain. But when you take away all of the interpolation from Josephus, he just writes about Jesus being a real person. That's it, right? He doesn't he doesn't bolster the claim at all. He's just recording it, right? Lavender. Oh, never mind. Lavender didn't want to come up. That's fine. Maybe later. So I don't see like what the point of like just saying, well, the people said he was real and that he was okay, sure. So what? We know Julius Caesar was a real person, but we know that there's also a book, The Life of the 12 Caesars, that makes a claim that he became a god after he died, right? I don't believe that. That's a bunch of nonsense.
Hey, Ralphie in the comments, if God doesn't care about religion, just your relationship with them, then why did he command people to take others outside of their own religion as slaves?
It is true. Leviticus 25, 44 to 46. Now, what I was going to say before the coward ran away is I was going to read it, and I'm still going to read it. I'm not going to just not read it because he left. I don't care. So in Mark 16 it says, I got to go one more page, sorry. There we go. So Mark 16, right? It says, when the Sabbath was over, Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James and Salome, bought spices as they might go and anoint him. And very early on the first day of the week, when the sun had risen, they went to the tomb. They had been saying to one another, who will roll away the stone for us from the entrance of the tomb? When they looked up, they saw that the stone, which was very large, had already been rolled back. As they entered the tomb, they saw a young man dressed in a white robe sitting on the right side, and they were alarmed. But he said to them, do not be alarmed. You are looking for Jesus of Nazareth, who is crucified. He has been raised. He is not here. Look, there is the place where they have laid him. But go, tell his disciples and Peter that he is going ahead of you to Galilee. There you will see him, just as he told you. So they went out and fled from the tomb, for terror and amazement had seized them, and they said nothing to anyone, for they were afraid. Okay, so according to Mark 16, Mary and two other women went to the tomb to anoint Jesus' body. They bought spices and brought them with them so they could anoint his body. They go to the tomb. They find that the stone is rolled away. There's a young man in the tomb dressed in a white robe, and he tells them, "Do not be alarmed, that Jesus is not here. He was crucified, he's been raised, and now he's in Galilee. So now you need to tell the disciples and Peter, right, that he's in Galilee ahead of them." And the women flee the tomb, and they're afraid, so they don't tell anyone. Then if we go to John 16, it also says that when the sun had risen, by the way, it also says the sun had risen, right? That's another thing I gotta mention. Then when we go to John 20, right? John 20. Ooh. Let me get my pages here. Some of my pages are like kind of stuck together a little bit. Don't know why. Anyways, when we go to John 20, right? It says, "Early on the first day of the week, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene came to the tomb and saw that the stone had been removed from the tomb. So she ran and went to Simon Peter and the other disciple, the one whom Jesus loved, and said to them, 'They have taken the Lord out of the tomb, and we do not know where they have laid him.' Then Peter and the other disciple set out and went toward the tomb. The two were running together, but the other disciple outran Peter and reached the tomb first. He bent down to look in and saw the linen wrappings lying there, but he did not go in. Then Simon Peter came, following him, and went into the tomb. He saw the linen wrappings lying there, and the cloth that had been on Jesus' head, not lying with the linen wrappings, but rolled up in a place by itself. Then the other disciple, who reached the tomb first, also went in, and he saw and believed, for as yet as they did not understand the scripture that he must rise from the dead. Then the disciples returned to their homes, but Mary stood weeping outside the tomb. As she wept, she bent over to look into the tomb, and she saw two angels in white, sitting where the body of Jesus had been lying, one at the head and the other at the feet. They said to her, 'Woman, why are you weeping?' She said to them, 'They have taken away my Lord, and I do not know where they have laid him.' Then it says, when she had said this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing there, but she did not know that it was Jesus. Jesus said to her, 'Woman, why are you weeping? Whom are you looking for?' Supposing him to be the gardener, she said to him, 'Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have laid him, and I will take him away.' Jesus said to her, 'Mary.' She turned around and said to him in Hebrew, Rabbi, which means teacher. And it says, Jesus said to her, 'Do not hold on to me, because I have not yet ascended to the Father. But go to my brothers and say to them, I am ascending to my Father and your Father.'" Ooh, on the next page. "To my God and your God." Mary Magdalene went and announced to the disciples, "I have seen the Lord," and she told them that he had said these things to her. Okay, so according to this one, it's dark, still dark. Then Mary went to the tomb by herself, and she saw that the tomb was empty. So she went to the disciples and told them. Peter and the disciple whom Jesus loved come to the tomb, right? And they see that the tomb is empty. So they go home. Then two angels appear in the tomb, and the two angels in the tomb ask her, "Why is she crying? Why is Mary crying?" Because she stays outside the tomb crying. She says they took Jesus away. She doesn't know where he is. So then Jesus appears to her, and she thinks he's the gardener at first, but then he speaks to her, and she realizes it's him. Then she goes and she tells the disciples. These are just two completely different stories as to what happened at the tomb. There is no reason why I would ever think that these are reliable accounts of what happened. So, I mean... CG Squawks, are you ready to have an actual conversation now about the contradiction?
All right, the contradiction. Okay, the contradiction is actually speaking of two different times.
No, it can't
One,
be. You want to know why?
no, listen, it does. It talks about one already talks about as Mary had already left the tomb and then returned back.
CG.
Okay.
So why? So if Mary was at the tomb, right? So she went. So theoretically, within the chronological order of time, John 20 has to be first because it's still dark. The other one says that the sun had risen. Okay, so John 20 had to be first. So Mary goes to the tomb. She finds that it's empty, right? So then she goes to the disciples, Peter and the one that Jesus loved, and they go to the tomb and they find that it's empty. Okay, wait a minute. So then she goes to so they go to the tomb and they see that it's empty, and then they go home, right? Because they don't know what to do. Then Mary stays outside the tomb crying. Then two angels appear in the tomb, right? They appear in the tomb, and then they ask her why she's crying. And then Jesus appears to her, right? And then she goes and she tells the disciples everything that he told her, right?
Yeah.
But then Mark 16 says the sun had risen. So this is the next logical step, right? This had to be this. If you're making the claim that there's two separate instances,
Well,
this has
now,
to be the second one. Wait a minute. Why is she debating with the other two women about rolling away the stone? She already knows that it's rolled away. Why is she arguing with them about who's going to roll away the stone, right? And then why does the young man in the tomb tell them to go tell the disciples? She's already told them. What? What?
no, it's all in chronological time.
But
If
it
you
isn't though. And I just explained why.
listen, all right.
TG, can you acknowledge what I just said?
I acknowledge what you just
You're not.
said,
You're not though.
okay, but see,
Listen,
this is
hold
why
on, CG,
that
CG,
no,
CG. One moment, CG. One moment. Listen. John 20 says that Mary went to the tomb. She told the disciples it was empty. They came and they saw that it was empty, so they already know, right? Then she saw Jesus there herself. She saw Jesus. He was at the tomb, right? And then she went and told the disciples everything that he told her. Mark 16, right, is the next step, has to be the next chronological order because it now says the sun was up, right? She goes to the tomb with two other women, okay? This time, she goes to the tomb with two other women. Why are they debating about who's going to roll away the stone? She already knows that it's rolled away. She already knows the stone's rolled away. And why do they go and buy spices when she already knows that he's not there, right? And why? Hold on, I'm not finished yet. I'm not finished yet. And then why does the young man in the tomb tell them to go tell the disciples that Jesus is in Galilee when they already know that he's not in the tomb, right? Like she already told them all the things that he told her. So why do they have to go back to the disciples now?
all right, that is assuming that the time span you have is not flipped. All right, I know you
I
said
just told you why it can't be. I just told you why it
can
can't be.
It says the sun was coming up. Is it not dark when the sun is still rising?
No, it doesn't say the sun is still rising. It says the sun had risen.
And that was in which one? That was
In Mark 16, which means
Okay.
Mark 16 theoretically has to be the second one. Mark 16 would have to be the second in the chronological time, has to be the second one in chronological order. In Mark 16, we'll go back to, I'll read it again. That's
All
fine.
right, listen. If all
So
you
it says,
no, please let me talk a minute. If all you're all right, if all you're going to contradict everything that I say
you don't like
because
being proven wrong,
no, listen, see that's why, and you can't accept that the timelines are different.
but
Like,
yeah, you're right. They are different. You're right. They are different, Barry. You're right. They are. That's the point that I'm getting at. CG is that they are wrong. Is that they are different. You're right. Yeah. You're a lot. Yeah. You're right. John 20 says that the sun says it was still dark, so the sun had not risen yet. Mark 16 says the sun had risen, which means that John 20 has to be first chronologically. Mark 16 has to be second chronologically, right? CG, when you're away from the screen, nobody can hear you.
oh, I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
What?
So
Right. You said Mark has to be
second, because it says the sun had risen. John 20 says that it was still dark. So if you're making the claim that there's two two instances where she went to the tomb, you have a lot of explaining to do. You do, right? Because so if you're making the claim that there's two instances where she went to the tomb, right? Then you have to explain why she's arguing with the other two women, right? About who's going to roll away the stone when she knows that it's already rolled away. You also have to explain why the young man in the tomb is telling them to go tell the disciples when Mary's already spoken to Jesus herself, and she's already gone and told the disciples the things that he told her. Because that's what John 20 says. John 20 says that she already went to the tomb, right? If you're making the claim that these are two separate instances. It's making the claim that she already went there. She already knows the stone's rolled away. She knows Jesus isn't there. Okay, she already spoke to Jesus. Jesus told her a bunch of things, and then she went and told the disciples those things.
all right. That I understand where you come from because everything that you say, Mark would come second and John would come first. That would explain why why would she be saying these things when she already knew, right?
You have a lot of problems. You have a lot of
Okay,
things to
now,
explain.
all right, listen. You're right. Everything would be switched around. Yeah, like it wouldn't make sense. Okay.
Right.
However, okay, but how about this? Dawn and daylight is not instantaneous. Okay, so read again.
Read
Read.
what?
No, wait, just read. Read what it says, where it says she, they came, the sun was down and the sun was up. Go ahead and read that to me a minute.
Yeah, so we'll read John 20 first, since you want to make the claim that John 20 is theoretically, and that this has nothing to do with what I'm saying. By the way, you're still not fixing the issue. In fact, we're not moving on until you can even address what I said. I'm not going to let you pivot like that because you're trying to go back now. So in Mark 16, right? Mark 16 makes a claim that the sun had risen and then she was going with the two other women to the tomb. She already knows that the stone's rolled away. If John 20 is first, she already knows that the stone is rolled away, right? So why is she then debating? Why is she then debating with the two other women about who's going to roll away the stone? She already knows that it's rolled away. Why is she going there? She already knows that Jesus isn't there. Why did they buy spices to go and anoint his body when he's not there? And she already knows that he's not there. And then she's already spoken to Jesus and the disciples. So then why is the young man in the tomb asking her to go talk to the disciples when she's already spoken to them about this? She already knows. She already spoke to Jesus herself.
That is all if John comes first.
It has
Right?
to. It says it's still dark.
Okay, that's the all right. I acknowledge what you're saying. Okay, and it does make sense that if John comes first,
Well, it has to.
then no, wait. If John comes first, then yes, it doesn't make sense why she would be asking again because she already knew. She's already been there. All right,
Yes,
now,
because
now
early on the
wait.
first day of the week while it was still dark, so it's still
Okay,
dark.
right.
Mark
Yes.
16 says the
Wait.
sun had risen.
Okay. Yes. Go ahead. Read. What one are you reading from first?
You want me to read all of it? I can read it again. Hold on.
No. I just want you to read about the sunrise and whether it's dark. Read out of
John 20. Yeah,
John
we'll
20.
do John 20 first, because John 20 is the theoretically, if you, and that's ridiculous. There's not two different times you went to the tomb. But if you want to make that claim, then John 20 would have to be first. It says, early on the first day of the week while it was still dark. Okay, so the sun had not risen yet. It was still dark. But then you go to Mark 16. Mark 16 says that the sun had risen. That's why Mark 16 theoretically has to be the next in chronological order.
Now that is where it's not necessarily true. Okay?
No, it is.
No.
Is it still dark or did the sun?
Listen.
Okay, so CG, has the sun risen yet or not in Mark 16? Does it say the sun had risen or does it not? I need you to actually address like what I'm saying. It doesn't seem like you're actually addressing anything I'm saying. You're just saying nuh-uh. I need you to provide me an actual reason why you think this is not a contradiction or why this is not a problem. But you haven't done so. You're not doing a good job here. This is crazy. So CG, you're muted. I don't know if you know that. So there's a little button at the bottom of your screen, looks like a microphone. You gotta press it to unmute yourself.
Am I there now?
Yeah, you're good. Okay, so Mark 16 theoretically is the second one within the chronological order because it says the sun had risen, whereas John 20 says it was still dark. Mary went there while it was still dark by herself, right? So Mark 16 has to be the second one, right? The problem is that if you read John 20, she's going to the tomb. She knows the stone's rolled away. She knows Jesus is not even there anymore. She's already spoken to him, right? So she already knows the tomb is empty. She knows Jesus isn't there anymore. Right. And she's already spoken to the disciples about it, right? But then in Mark 16, it says that they didn't tell the disciples, and it says that they went there when it was still sun, when the sun had risen. It says the sun had risen in that one. But why is she arguing with the other two women about who's going to roll away the stone? She already knows. She already knows the stones rolled away. Why would she be arguing with them about that? And why did they buy spices when she already knows that the stones rolled away?
All right. Everything you're saying is correct if you play it by John coming first. Now,
I already explained why it has to.
No, okay. All right. And I explained why it doesn't have to.
No, you haven't. No, you haven't.
I did. Listen, I told you in the early morning of dawn when the sun is still rising,
Yeah.
or the sun has
It says it
risen.
was dark. It
No,
says it was
no,
dark.
it says it was dark. It is still dark when the sun is rising.
But it doesn't say that. You have to add that to the
No,
text. It
no,
doesn't say that.
it doesn't say that. But
It
you
does
can,
not.
okay, but you can by reading the fact that she went and the other things that she went there and she already knew and things like that,
Yeah.
then it would only make sense chronologically that Mark would have came first,
No, it
because
can't. It can't
no,
because the
no,
sun
the
had
only
risen. Okay, so you're gonna be. Oh, never mind. You went away from the screen. I'm glad. So listen, you can't
no,
say that Mark is first. You can't say Mark 16 is first because the sun had risen. It's no
that is
longer
the
dark.
only that is the only thing that you have.
I know. So
All
you.
right,
So this is what you
no,
want to
I
do.
am
You
telling
want
you,
to ignore. No, you're going to be quiet now for a second. So now you want to ignore what I'm saying. You want to ignore the evidence I provided. You just say, "Nah, Marcus first." This is ridiculous, CJ. Sorry, CG. CG, you are tying yourself in pretzels right now to try to defend a contradiction, to say that there isn't a contradiction. That's ridiculous. This is absurd, CG. This is ridiculous. All right, I've explained. Mark 16, John 20 has to be first, and the reason being is because it says it was still dark. But then Mark 16 says, and he ran away, of course. And then Mark 16 says that the sun had risen. That is absurd. Thank you, Pope. I appreciate it. That is absurd, CG. CG, you're not doing a good job. All right, we'll bring up Honor next. Oh well, Honor may not be here. It's like he didn't really want to address the things I was saying. Hi, Glitter. What's up? Hey, Glitter. No, so lab. So I have a new thing, lab, where I don't want people bringing up guests unless I say to, because I try to keep the panel small now. No, that's okay. I know you didn't know. That's fine. But we have Glitter and we have Soul, so I'll have two friendlies up for now, and we'll also do Honor real quick. Our next guest. Honor, are you at least 18 years of age?
Yes,
Okay, and what pronouns do you go by?
I am. Okay, I'm him. I am a he. I don't know if
Okay,
that's
do you
correct.
believe? Okay, very good. Do you believe that Christianity is true? Glitter, are you there? Glitter, you there? Oh, I don't think Glitter. Okay, so I don't think Glitter is actually there anymore. I think Glitter was doing
Hmm.
something. Glitter was in the box for a while, so they might have moved on to something else. That's okay. So, Honor, do you believe that Christianity is true?
Yeah, I believe in the Bible. I believe Christianity is the truth. Yeah.
Okay, well, what would be your best evidence or argument that Christianity is true? Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. My best argument is that of all the religions, it's the only religion that, if you examine the records of even near death experience, do you believe in near death experiences? NDEs.
I do, and that doesn't
Near
demonstrate
death.
that Christianity is true. NDEs are caused by
Yeah.
chemical reactions in the brain. That's all it is.
Okay, sure. So I'll take out the NDEs then.
Yeah,
But
but so this is
it's the
okay.
only
People,
religion. It's
yeah,
the only
Muslims.
religion.
Is that Muslims also have NDEs about their God, right? I don't believe their God exists. I don't believe that Muhammad was a prophet either. I think he was just a child diddler. So, like, when it comes to the claim of
Okay.
NDEs are not going to be a good evidence for anything. Personal experience can never be good evidence for a religious belief, because then it would mean that all religions are somehow true, and that doesn't work. So, Honor, besides
Yeah.
personal experience, what would be your best evidence that Christianity is true?
Um, the mere fact that if you go historically, the accounts of the Bible are deemed as true
No, that
historically. If you go
no, that's
by the
wrong.
historical accounts of
Can you show me?
historians and
Can you show me any historical records of Jesus' resurrection?
yeah, it's
No,
I can't. Give me a second.
no,
Let me
you
just
can't.
pull this now.
You're not going to be able to show me any historical records of Jesus' resurrection.
Give me a second. It's scripture. This is guy. Is it this? Not this. Jesus. There's a There are so many accounts of or so many historical points that prove that Jesus did exist. There was, if you look a simple
No, no,
Google.
no, honor. I didn't ask you if he existed. I believe that he was a real person. I asked you to show me that he resurrected. I asked you
Okay,
if you had any historical records that he resurrected. You said yes. You can find me one. Find me one, please do.
yeah, you see, if you believe that he existed, then we believe that based on the accounts of those that saw him,
No, I believe
right?
that
Is that
Julius
true?
Caesar. I believe that Julius Caesar was a real person too, but I also don't believe that he resurrected and became a god after he died. So we don't have
That's
any. The problem that I have
you
on
say you don't believe that he became what after he died? He came back.
a god, because that's what the life of the 12 Caesars makes the claim. Makes the claim that he became a god after he died. I don't believe that.
No, Jesus didn't become a god after he died. He
It
was
does.
God.
Does. You
He,
should
that's
read the
what we
life of the
believe.
12 Caesars. You should leave. You should read the life of the 12 Caesars.
Christians don't believe Jesus became God.
I'm not talking about Christianity. I'm not talking about Christianity. I'm talking about the life of the 12 Caesars. So the point that I'm trying to make is that we have mythology about a lot of people who existed as real people. We have mythology about Julius Caesar. I believe Julius Caesar was a real person, but I don't believe in the mythology behind him.
So if Jesus was to prove himself to you, would that be sufficient proof?
It would be I would first I would get myself psychologically evaluated first, and if I could find no other explanation other than the fact that he actually did, only then would I actually be convinced. The problem is that when I read the book and the fact that he's a false messiah who fulfills zero prophecies, that doesn't give me any hope that he was actually anything other than a man who lied and then died.
When you say he lied, you're not getting the whole truth, because there is no deceit found in him.
Oh,
He
you can
never
find
lied.
me.
Can you
Here,
prove
show
to
me.
me
Can
that
you
he
show
lied?
me? Yeah, can you show me? Yeah, he claimed to be the Messiah, but can you show me any single prophecy that he fulfilled? Just one.
Yeah, he did a lot,
Okay, find
especially
me
in
one.
Isaiah. Let me get it
Find me
up.
one.
Let me look it
Find me
up.
one. Okay, find me one. Let's see.
Yeah, it's in Isaiah. It said a virgin will be of birth.
No, it doesn't. In fact, so what's the context of Isaiah 7? Do you know?
Uh, Let me look it up.
Okay. The context of Isaiah 7 is that there are two kings, Rezin and Pekah. Rezin is the king of Syria, and Pekah is the king of the northern kingdom of Israel. These two kings have formed an alliance, and they're going up against the king of Judah, King Ahaz. They attempt to besiege Jerusalem at the beginning of the chapter, but they fail to actually conquer it. And when Ahaz learns that these two kings are against him, he's shaken. So God sends the prophet Isaiah to Ahaz, to reassure his faith. And the reassuring of faith comes in the form of prophecies that are about the destruction of the kings. One of these prophecies is in Isaiah 7:14-17, and it reads, "Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. Look, the young woman is with child and shall bear a son, and shall name him Emmanuel. He shall eat curds and honey by the time he knows how to refuse the evil and choose the good. For before the child knows how to refuse the evil and choose the good, the land before whose two kings you are in dread will be deserted. The Lord will bring on you and on your people and on your ancestral house such days as have not come since the day that Ephraim departed from Judah, the king of Assyria." The prophecy is that there's a young woman who is already pregnant, and she's going to give birth to a son, and that by the time her son is old enough to know right from wrong, the two kings are going to be defeated by the king of Assyria. The Hebrew for verse 14, where it says, "Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. Look, the young woman is with child and shall bear a son, and shall name Emmanuel," is "La kinyaten Adonai hudakim ot hine ha'alma chara ve'yoledet ben ve'chalat shimo Immanuel." And that is, "Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. Look, the young woman is pregnant and will bear a son, and she will name him Emmanuel." Has nothing to do with a virgin giving birth.
Is that your
God,
own understanding of the verse?
is that what?
Is that your own understanding of the verse?
It's from what the language says, and from what the context of the text is. If you would read the entire context of Isaiah 7, and you get to verses 14-17, you would see that this is a young woman who is giving birth to a son, and that by the time her son is old enough to know right from wrong, God is giving a prophecy that these two kings, Rezin and Pekah, the kings that he's in fear of, would be defeated by the king of Assyria. It was a prophecy of the Syro-Ephraimite war. which started in 736 and ended in 732 BCE. Now, the reason that the author Matthew made this mistake is because he was reading the Greek Septuagint for Isaiah 7. Now, in Isaiah 7, it uses the word parthenos in the Greek. Now, the word parthenos, as seen in Genesis 34, can refer to a young woman, not necessarily a virgin, because Dinah was not a virgin, but the word calls her parthenos because she had already been great, which means she was not a virgin anymore. But the text says that she's a parthenos in the Greek Septuagint. So the problem would be that the word does not denote virgin. But by the time you get to the first century, the word has had a semantic range drift, where people in the first century would probably understand this word to just be virgin. So the author Matthew saw this word and thought it meant virgin, but he was just mistaken because he did not know what the word actually meant originally. And he also did not know what the Hebrew said, so he would not know that the Hebrew actually says that it's a young woman, not a virgin. It's that simple.
You see, so I would, yeah, I would advise you, right, to. Do you think it would take anything from you if you believed Christianity? Do you think it will cost you anything to if you believed
I
Christianity?
don't. So I don't care whether you think that it would cost me nothing to be a Christian. I'm not going to be a Christian unless it's true, and I also wouldn't be a Christian anyways because the Bible God is horrendous and does horrific things, and I would never be a follower of a monster. But we're not doing the
Why? Why?
we're not doing the moral
Yeah.
argument today.
So okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'll say a prayer for you so that the Lord
And
enlightens your heart.
I'll think for you. That's fine.
You do it for me.
Well, listen, Honor. Thanks for coming up. But I hope you have a
Yeah,
fantastic day.
sure.
You too. See you, buddy.
Yeah, take care. All right.